So we have been listening to this fabulous lady on repeat on FM 104 on the Hit Mix for so long now. She released a tune a while ago with Tom Grennan. We loved it so much. Now she has a brand new song out ahead of the release of her second studio album. I am so excited to hear it. This song is called Brave. I love it so much. You know who I'm joined by at this stage. Ella Henderson. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm not doing too bad, but I think it's probably safe to say you're buzzing with the release of this new song, are you?
I am. I'm so excited. It just feels like it's been a little while since I've put like a song out on my own and I'm bringing the album. It's actually happening. No, it feels really, really good and it feels like the right time.
Yeah, it's good too because you do so many collaborations and you're the queen of collabs at this point now. But I'd say it feels so good to be able to release something and say, all right, this is all me. This is what I had to offer. Like it or lump it. But I'd say everybody likes it. You know what I mean? But I think what's great about this song is that not only does it's just so powerful. I feel like I watched the music video and you're kind of almost tearing up watching the music video. Like, you know, it goes so well with the message behind the song. And I think a lot of people have had to be quite brave for themselves, not only in the last 2 years, but we've all faced things in our lives where you have to kind of talk yourself into doing something, you know, be brave, you can do this, you'll be fine, even when you might necessarily not want to. Is that kind of what you mean about the song?
Yeah, I think for me, like I've faced definitely like certain challenges over the last 3 or 4 years of my life that I never thought would happen to me. And I think one of the biggest things that I had to kind of accept was that sometimes, you know, it's okay to not be okay. And sometimes like it's fine to ask for a helping hand. And there's nothing that you should ever be ashamed of for that. And I think like just I think the more we open up about that subject and we talk about it and we speak about opening up and talking about it to one another. And, you know, I think just like being kind or just like being kind to yourselves and taking care of yourself is like the key thing in life. Cause like without that, what have we got?
Absolutely. I completely know what you mean. And you know what? I think that a lot of people do realize when they do kind of step out of their comfort zone and they do ask for help when it might take a while for them to get to that point, they realize very quickly that people having struggles, it's probably the most thing that we all have in common. It's the biggest thing that we all have in common. You know, we've all faced things. Nobody has a perfect life.
No, exactly. And also like I just think it feels really refreshing when you do, because you realize you're not on your own and you realize actually like, oh, okay, I'm not this outcast that's just this crazy person behind the scenes. Actually everybody understands how I feel. And then two, like you feel this huge weight lifted off your shoulders, like you've almost like dropped 5 pounds, and hey, who doesn't want to lose 5 pounds?
I know.
So yeah, no, I always think it's I just think like the whole messaging of Brave, and also I feel like it's still very soulful. It's an anthemic sounding record, and it kind of proves and shows that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and it's kind of like got a hopeful message to it, but with, you know, with like I always like to do a video that kind of like stands for something, and I feel like this does.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. And I was wondering, just with obviously the theme of the song and what it means to you, obviously it's so, so important, as well as the people who listen to it and can resonate with it. Is there ever a time where you feel like you have had to be brave?
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny, I get asked this, you know, because of the title of the track, and I actually think the bravest things we ever do as humans are the little things that we don't even recognize ourselves that we're doing, and they could be like everyday things. You know, I look at even my sister, who's like, I look up to her so much. She's 10 years older than me and we have such different lives, but like the fact that she gets out of bed at the time she does every day, and she gets to work and she does her thing, and she makes sure that my nephews are okay and that they have an amazing life. Like I just think that's incredibly brave, because like she sacrifices everything for herself for her kids. And you know, that's like one example. Like you could be making the bravest decision ever by quitting your job and deciding to go solo, or deciding to take this new job venture that you always dreamt of doing but you're terrified to do it. Like that is brave. Like there's so many things that we do in our life that we just, I think sometimes we don't give ourselves a pat on the back, but like actually that was like pretty cool that I did that, and it was quite a big deal. I mean, probably the bravest thing I ever did, or the craziest thing I ever did, was when I was 16 and I decided to audition for X Factor, because that was like, I look back on that now and I'm like, I don't know how I did that at 16.
That was huge.
Yeah, like if you asked me to go sing every Saturday and Sunday night in front of the whole nation and for the whole world to watch on YouTube, I would be like, absolutely not, and get judged for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's definitely some wild things I've probably chosen to do, and probably taking a step back and taking a while to actually put my second album out was a brave decision. But at the time, I went through so many emotions to get to where I can sit here now and say, oh, okay, actually it was the right decision. I went through everything. I was like,
well, that's the thing. It was so positive going on the X Factor. While you look at that now and you go, oh my God, I could never do that today. Imagine standing on a stage and be judged for your singing. It can be quite cutthroat when you actually put it into perspective. You're like, wow, I actually did that. But it's led you to where you are today. And I suppose in those kind of situations, you look back and you go, God, that was really brave. But like, look where it got me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think now I look back on it and I'm like, I'm just so thankful that I did make those decisions and do it, because I think when you go through that at a young age, you kind of take it with you as you get older and you're like, wow, okay, if I did that and I got through it, I know that I can take things on further in life.
Yeah, it's like if I stood on stage in front of loads of people and I got judged for my singing and was on national television all over the world, I didn't do anything. It's grand. Everything's like a walk in the park from this point onwards. But I suppose it prepped you in a way for like touring and, putting out music and having those honest and raw conversations in your music. It's about being your true, authentic self. And, obviously the album, the name of it really kind of stood out to me. Everything I didn't say. Do you feel like you got to say what you wanted to say?
I feel like I was always this very, like, with my music's always been my therapy. And I've always written in a very like open diary way, hence why the first album was called Chapter One. I just think maybe because I was 16 and 18 when I released it, that obviously I hadn't had loads of life experience yet, and also I used to feel just quite scared to open up too much, or oh God, I don't want to sit in this interview because what if they ask me a question about that song and I don't really want to talk about it because it's quite personal. Whereas I've got to this place now in my life where I'm 26 years old, and like, yes, I've gone through like so many different things. Hence why the album is like word vomit and it's called Everything I Didn't Say. I'm pretty much bringing all my fans up to speed over the last 7 to 8 years of what's happened in my life. And I do just feel ready to share it. And I don't feel ashamed of anything. I don't feel embarrassed about it. Like the good, the bad, the ugly is everything that is on this album. Even down to like mistakes I've made, because I realized actually without that mistake, it wouldn't have led me to this amazing situation. It wouldn't have led me to this person. And, there's so many things that have happened that I just think actually, the more I realized I would play the songs to my mates and stuff, they'd be like, oh, this is so relatable. And I'd be like, oh, okay, that's why I need to release these songs.
Yeah, no, everybody I'd say can relate to your music in some way, shape or form. And that is why it's so fitting. I think that Brave came out when it did, is because it was brave for you to release this album, to speak about the things that might have brought you to your knees in your life, also happy times in your life where you can go, right, look, this happens to me. Yes, I'm an artist, I'm a singer, I'm up on stage, but like I've got things in my life too, just like you, I am just like you. And I think that's what the great message of that album then and that song kind of projects, and I love it so much. And I suppose the album itself is out on March 11th. Are you just so excited to finally just get it out there?
I am. I'm nervous, but I'm just like so excited to finally like give it to everybody. Like I just feel like I've had some of these songs for so long. Yeah, and I also like, I don't know, I just feel like people might hear things or sides of me that maybe they've not heard or didn't even know was going on in my life. Or they might hear something and be like, oh my God, like it's so refreshing to hear that from an artist, because like I went through that myself. And I don't know, it's exciting. I feel like these songs are like, have been like my little babies for so long that it's time to just let them go, and like whatever happens. But yeah, I am super excited. I just feel like it's been forever, and I think lockdown was definitely a time for me where I kind of reflected on, where the album was at, where everything's at, and I was just like, wow, like we kind of probably took performing and touring and promoting music for granted for so long. And like being in physical contact with people, and like even with interviews, not being in the same room as people, like it actually means a lot. So I think coming back into it as well, I just feel this more like, I don't know, I'm just so grateful for everything, and I just feel ready. I don't know what that means or why I do, but I do just feel ready.
I know what you mean. I'd say to a certain extent too, the songs and the music are like your babies. You're probably always wanting to perfect them and to go over them again. Does that sound right? Does that sound right? But you have to just kind of let them go out on their own, put the album out. And I suppose people probably had a lot of time, like yourself too, to reflect during lockdown, and people were faced with, maybe their demons, and they had to sit down and really think about them. And again, like you say, speak out if you're not okay. That's okay. That's grand. And yeah, I'm so excited to hear the rest of the album. You really did. You set the precedent with this song and with the song, the collaboration with Tom Grennan as well. So I'm so excited to hear the rest of it. And when you speak about touring, you're obviously going on tour with the Script, aren't you, in May and June?
Yes, I'm so excited.
That would be so fun. Because have you been on the road properly since the beginning of all of this?
Not really, no. Like I've done UK tours, but I've never done like, we're doing parts of Europe as well. So I'm so excited. And also this is a big tour. It's an arena tour. So being with the boys, I love Danny and I love the rest of the boys. Like we get along like a house on fire, and I just can't wait to just like be back up on stage, to watch their shows as well, like to be a punter and enjoy a gig. So yeah, all of it I just can't wait for, and to travel around, be back on the tour bus, be back with my band, and I just feel like it's been a long time coming, so I'm super excited for that. It's going to be grand.
It's going to be grand. It's going to be more than grand. It's going to be unreal. I'm so excited. But I'd say too, like, even you say that, you know, you take things for granted because of lockdown and stuff. I'd say your tour, your crew, they're probably like a little family to you on the road. So, you know, when everything stopped, you're probably going, oh, okay. I usually see you all the time.
We had to set up like big WhatsApp chats because we all missed each other that much. And it was just really weird and bizarre. Like so many people like in the chats have gone and had like kids and babies and got engaged or breakups. And like, we've all like come back into rehearsals being like, oh, okay, like life's changed for many of us. Let's all catch up about it. And, but yeah, and I think it is important because for so long, like, and this is with anybody in any job, you know, I think a lot of us do rely on like either like people we work with or our work environment to like for a lot of our happiness as well. So it has been a tough couple of years, and I think it's hit a lot of us really hard. But I just feel super grateful that, fingers crossed, it's actually making a return and we can be back together.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's what I kind of think too. You know, you spend 9 to 5 days a week with the people that you work with. Of course, you're going to have to like them. And then all of a sudden, when you're thrown into a situation where you don't see them anymore, you're like, oh God, I actually really relied on seeing you and I had such good crack with you. And now you're gone. What's happening?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. It's really surreal.
Yeah. I'm so excited to actually see that. So it's the 14th and 15th of June. I think you're coming to the Three Arena with the Script as well. They're doing their Greatest Hits World Tour. So that'll be so fun to see. And also you've done, as we spoke about before, so many collaborations with Tom Grennan, Jax Jones, recently Offenbach as well, as far as I know. Any surprises on the album? Any collabs? Anything that you can reveal to us?
There is a collab on the album, actually. There's a song that I've written with Mickey Echo, who did Stay with Rihanna.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. He came over.
I love his voice.
Yeah, his voice is insane, and I'm a huge fan of his. And I've always wanted to go. So I was meant to, just before the very first lockdown, I was meant to go to Nashville. And I wasn't able to go, so I was really gutted. But just before that trip, Mickey actually came to the UK and we wrote this song, and it's a beautiful ballad. Like, we wrote 2 songs that day. The first one kind of like was a different kind of vibe, but this one was when we drank like nearly a bottle of tequila and got really drunk and felt sorry for ourselves, and was writing this beautiful like heartbreak love ballad with like a call and response thing between 2 people. And it just sounds really, really cool. Like, and to sing with him, like, I was like, this just feels like an honor. Even if nobody hears it, I'm just going to listen to this and cry in my bedroom. So
I love that.
Yeah, I was super stoked to do a record with him and have it on the album.
Yeah, the best things that you can do are happen when you drink a bottle of tequila, to be honest with you. So
absolutely.
Everything just pours out of you. You call your ex, you start an argument with someone, but all your true feelings come out. So it's fine.
Everything happens after a tequila.
I'd say you wrote it the next morning and just woke up and was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
It could have gone the other way though. I could have woke up and been like, what is this?
Yeah. I love that so much. That's going to be part of your creative process now. You're like, right, I need a bottle of this specific tequila. I have to write it at this time, and I need to be here when I write it, and he needs to be present. So, oh, that's brilliant. Well, listen, Ella, thank you so much for chatting to me on the Hit Mix on FM 104 today.